Well, hello everyone. Thanks for tuning to KT Garage. This is part 3 of the Mustang Fox Body restoration project. This is a 1990 Mustang. And as you can see in part 1 and 2, I did a whole lot of work trying to restore the car. And in part 3, I'm just getting ready to paint. And the paint job is quite involved. As you can see, there's a lot of preparation that you need to do before you paint the vehicle. I'm just going to walk over the car real quick to show you the preparation process. I showed you on the part 2, but there's some other stuff that I need to get done before painting. I'll show you that, and then we're going to go ahead and talk about the paint. Well, it's a really breezy day, so I was going to put the plastic all over the wheel and protecting it from the overspray, but it keeps flying. It's gonna get into the fresh paint. So I decided just to tape the rims. Now these tires seen better days. It cracked and everything, so I was gonna replace anyway. I'm just gonna let the overspray go over the tire. It doesn't really matter. So that's what I did. I just taped the rims. And you can see it's quite breezy right now, which makes it a little more difficult to paint. But I think we can make it work. This rim got taped the same way. And I've shown you all this stuff before. Now to paint the mirror, the best way is just to hang it. And luckily I have this little setup out here. I just hang it like that, so it's painted the way it hangs. And then the rest of it, like all these little trim pieces, prepare the paint, then set it up in a way that I can just paint it. And so here it is. So you just want to make sure that the parts that get painted don't rest on anywhere, so you can paint the entire car or the entire part with it. Just like I leave gaps here, so I can just paint everything. Anyway, that's it. Let's talk about the paint. So I decided to go with polyurethane base, and this is a high build primer. Now when you get it, just make sure you get the high build, because you want to build up a good layer of it, and then you're going to block sand it down to perfection. So I'm going to spray 3 or 4 coats of this high build paint primer, and then I'm just going to block sand everything down before I put the base and clear. And this, I bought it from eBay actually. You can get this from Depot for a really good deal, and it comes with a hardener. Make sure you get yourself urethane reducer, get plenty of it, and you can use that for cleaning your spray gun as well. Now I had this spray gun for many years, and I decided to use the smaller one. I have a larger bowl, which is a lot harder to clean. This is smaller. I gotta make frequent trip to go back and refill it, but it's okay. It's at the end you're gonna appreciate yourself using a smaller bowl. It's much easier to clean. And so that's about it. You gotta have your mixing cup, and we're in business. Okay, so I just mixed the paint. It's getting ready to be sprayed. So on these mixing cup, you can see mixing ratios. And since we're gonna do 4:1, this says right here 4:1 for the base, and then for the hardener. So you're gonna go 4. I just had to go 4 here, 1 here, and then I fill the rest with the thinner. You can see how much thinner I put on, because these are quite thick. And a friend of mine, he's a painter, and he said, you know, you mix them up until it feels like whole milk. That looks like whole milk to me. So that's the best way to mix it. Now let's spray it on. Well, I was definitely optimistic about getting base and clear done today. All I did was just the primer because I found out that the bumper needs a lot of work. It's you can't really see it in the camera, but this area that I have to block sand it down and then put base and clear. So it's gonna have to be next weekend. But you can see the primer goes on. Everything looking really good. There we go. All the little parts are getting primer as well. There you go, guys. We're gonna have to pick this up next weekend. Well, guys, I was pretty optimistic about having the entire job done in one day. With primer, base, and clear in one day is not gonna happen. So what I did was I sprayed the primer, get the job finished. But then I waited until this week or this weekend to go ahead and do the base and clear. Because what happened is after I sprayed the primer, I saw that the surface wasn't good enough for spraying base and clear because you gotta wet sand it down. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that this morning. We'll block sand with wet sanding, and then we're gonna throw the base and clear a little bit later on. Now, after throwing the base on it, it doesn't look like the clear can go on, and I'm gonna have to end up wet sanding it again. So it might be a 2-day job. I don't know until I see how good of an atomization is with the gun that I'm using for the base. So for those of you that are not familiar with wet sanding, so you can get these sandpaper from the automotive store, and you can get it from Amazon, eBay, whatever. Make sure it's a wet or dry. And what you do is you dip into the water, and then you lightly rub on the surface, and then with all the residues, you just you can just clean it up, and so there's like zero dust when you do wet sanding. And when you block sand it, basically you put in a block like this, and you wrap the sandpaper around the block, and then so this will give you a nice and straight surface when you block sand it. So make sure everything is nice and straight. So that's how you wet sand. And you can see, like, I wet sand a little bit on this door already, and you can see the finish is really good. I rubbed my hand on it, and it feels like this. It's completely smooth. Not sure if you can see it here, but here, if I rub my hand on it, I can feel like the little grit on it. And so that's gonna have to be wet sanded, like this surface, for the entire car. And then we can go ahead and put base and clear. Doesn't take long. Like this entire door, I did it within like maybe 5 minutes. So I'll tell you how long it takes for the whole car to be wet sanded. Well, it actually took a lot longer than I thought to block sand the high build primer. It took me about 4 hours to block sand the entire car to a really nice finish. And then the bumper took me another 2 hours to work on the bumper because I didn't do a thorough job on it. I knew I was gonna have to block sand and take care of it. So all of that was done yesterday, and it coming towards the end of the day. So I didn't want to put on the base coat, and when it gets dark, it's really hard to see what you're doing. So this morning, first thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna throw in a base, and then we'll see how the base turn out. I might even have to block sand that, and then wait for another day to do the clear. I'm not sure. So first, let's just do the base. So my choice for paint is Shopline. This is the cheapest option that you can get, but it's also very doable. I had these painted on other vehicles for many years and still hold up really good. So this is a polyurethane base. So you make sure you go get one of these if you want to do a driver quality paint job. And the good thing about this is you don't have to mix it with a hardener. You just dilute it with the reducer, and then you go and shoot it, and make sure it looks like whole milk by the time you dilute it, and that's the best mix that you're gonna get the spray. So I'm gonna go ahead and mix it up and start putting the coat on. Okay, so this is the initial coat of base that you're seeing here. I threw on probably 2 or 3 coats. I'm going to do another few coats on top of this while just let it dry for a little bit. What I have to do is I have to take this off right after the base coat, because I see there's a little bit of pieces of overspray that was on the plastic, and when you leave it for a week it get real brittle, and then they keep flying, and then it gets in the paint. Probably can see some of it here. So I'm gonna have to like use an air hose and blow all of it out. I rip it off, and I'm gonna have to retape the windows. It works okay with paper, but the plastic one is it peels up real easy. So, and also when I threw a base coat on, you look on the side with the reflection, there's a few more spots that that needs to be worked on. So I'm gonna have to black sand this down, and hopefully I just throw the base coat on, and it turns out okay. So definitely gonna have to do a little bit more work on that, but everything else looks fairly decent. I'm just gonna wait for it to dry a little bit, and then we'll throw in another coat or 2. Well guys, it's the end of Sunday, and I'm not able to get the clear coat on, but at least I get the base on and fix all the issues. Just walking around the car a little bit. So I had a lot of issues down here where I fixed it already. You can say I sprayed a really thick coat of base there, so I'm gonna go and block sand that probably in a few days, let it dry up real good. But it's nice and flat now. Just need to block sand everything. But yeah, everything else is looking really decent. Just hung up here, already got painted. There we go. Front end looking really good now. I had a lot of issues with it yesterday, so I block sand quite a bit of it. You can see everything is nice and clean. So the rest of the stuff is out here. Spoiler, it's also got painted. 4 or 5 coat of base, guys. So I'm gonna have to block sand that down too, or wet sand, making sure everything is nice and flat before I put that clear coat on. Well, I pushed as hard as I can this weekend trying to get the whole paint job done, but looked like it's not going to happen. The base is on. Now next weekend I'm going to have to sand that down into a nice finish. and I'm going to throw the clear coat on it. So I'm looking at just one more day for the clear coat, and then polishing. I'm not sure when I need a second day for polishing. We'll see how the finish look with the clear coat. So overall, I'm happy with the paint job. It takes a lot longer than I thought it was. I haven't been painting the entire car in a few years, so I forgot how long it takes to do everything. But it's a process that you can't really rush through it. You gotta go through it and make sure you get everything done right before you throw that clear coat on. It's gonna show. Anyway, I really appreciate you guys tuning into KT Garage. Make sure you tune in to next week. I'll get the finished paint job and we'll see how it looks. Thank you.